You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the August 27th, 2024 meeting of the LaPorte County Regional Sewer and Water District Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
On the meeting, the August 27th, 2024 meeting of the LaPorte County Regional Sewer and Water District to order. Can we please salute the flag?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
John Carr,
Here.
Marcella Kustik,
Here.
Jerry Jackson,
Here.
Mitch Bishop,
Here.
Mark Danielson,
Here.
Amanda Laners,
Here.
LaPorte.
all present.
Minutes from July 23rd, 2024.
So move.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any questions? Proceed to vote. All in favor signify by word aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Public comment. Anyone wishing to speak needs to state their name and address for the record, and we'll have 3 minutes to speak. Is there anybody here for public comment?
On
Anybody
the,
on Zoom?
anyone on Zoom?
Vogler, Joyce? Public comment. Okay, nobody for public comment. Moving on to reports. Steve Carter. Steve here? Steve.
Financials for the month of July. For Hudson Saugony, very little activity other than interest income and some reimbursements from one of the other accounts. $18,282 in income. Ending balance $2,312,771. For Rolling Prairie, receipts for the month of July $14,104. Operating disbursements $2,676. Interest income of $467. We paid loan principal to the county of $3660. That was 2 months worth. And then we had bond principal and interest. Principal $7,315. Interest of $840. Net positive cash flow $79. Ending balance July 31, $273,518.14. Of that amount, $228,737.50 is in the O&M fund, $6,814 in the debt service reserve, $37,980.50 in the bond and interest account. For the toll road, we had one receipt, $26,960. Operating disbursements $5,586. Interest income $1,972. Positive cash flow $23,346 for the month. Ending balance is $555,930.59. Of that amount, $198,753.01 is in the O&M fund. The balance of $357,177.58 is in the improvement fund held at the Hoosier Fund. You want me to go to claims as well?
Sure.
Claims for the month of $130,042.69. A lot of the usual suspects. We do have some in there for Rolling Prairie Phase 2 that will be paid by the SRF. Some additional billings from Asbury related to sludge removal and some repairs and maintenance items. The boardable software, I believe that's annual, is on there. And that's about it as far as anything that's not recurring.
Okay.
We need a motion to approve the claims.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims. Are there any questions? Proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by word aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Asbury?
Good morning, Chris Vogler with Asbury. We last month we did have we had some issues at the waste treatment plant with the electrical blowers shutting off, but we got that problem fixed. And going forward, we had 1 week where we had some exceedances, but after that it was good. I think we've corrected the issue. We are still having ongoing issues with the UV system. The automatic wiper is not wiping like it should, so looking at what it takes to get that back online fully.
Wait, hold on, Chris. So 1 week exceeding and you got that taken care of?
Yeah, we had exceedances for 1 week, and then after that we were back in compliance. We did send a notice to the state saying that we did have an exceedance, and we addressed it, and we were back in compliance the following week.
Okay.
Parameters we exceeded.
Almost all of them. We had issues at, but once the blower wasn't working, we had BOD solids, we had ammonia and E. coli.
Okay, that's what the usual suspects.
Right. When you have a blower to go down for 3 or 4 days, and trying to recover from that, we did all the things we need to do: add seed, and try to improve. Make sure that the blowers were running optimally. And after that, it was it took about I would say 5 or 6 days for it to recover.
Yep.
I didn't include Asbury's report because I didn't get it till 5 o'clock yesterday.
Right.
And then, what was I gonna ask? Something else. Okay, so that was taken care of, and then what about the UV?
UV system, there are a lot of moving parts to it. I mean, there's a wiper that there's a piston that moves the wiping mechanism back and forth. That seemed to be leaking and not operating properly, so we replaced the piston that moved it back and forth. But now it seems to be stuck on one end, and I think it's the controller or the the part that switches it from going forward to going backwards. I think that part needs to be replaced also.
Can we get some?
So what are we doing to get that
Estimates or
alleviated?
I'm going to order. Like I said, I'm going to order that part. The UV system is working properly now. I mean, it's disinfecting, but over time, there'll be stuff that accumulates on the sleeves when it's not being wiped. This is I would say a deluxe package or whatever, where there's actually a wiper on there, and you don't have to manually take it out and put it back in. So just more moving parts, more things to break.
Okay, whatever you gotta do, right? Whatever he needs to do.
Yep.
Different subject, Chris. Do you know I was just applying for NPDS permit for LaPorte. Do you know what our date is for the wastewater plant at the toll road?
As far as permitting goes,
Yeah, the renewal.
I think we just did that last year.
Okay, that sounds right. Because the permit I got in the file is old, and I hadn't seen the current one.
So how many years do you have to do that?
They're a 5-year.
5 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked about getting a quote for a new SCADA. Did we work on that?
Right.
I reached,
I thought that was something Dan was doing.
yeah, I reached out to him and didn't hear anything back.
That's what I'm. Okay.
Okay, moving on.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, you're welcome.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, moving on to JPR, billing collections permit. Be selected.
One other thing under that, Chris's stuff, there was a quote, and I was a little confused on this quote thing. Chris contacted me and said the toll road told him that they need the cleanup around the wells. Right, Chris?
Right. There's an old well building and a well across the street from the current well buildings, and one of the toll road, the ex operator was over there, and he saw that there was growth around the building, and he wants that the growth removed from around the building, and I'm like, well, okay, but
Property.
is it the district's property, or is it the toll road's property? So I think that's where we're at right now, is trying to figure out.
It's the district's
You know.
property, but
Yeah, but
I don't know that they can
What are we
force
gonna
you to do anything on your property. Now, we do have a quote from our current guy for $1,200 to clean it up, but I don't know. But someone said it's IDEM, but it's not IDEM. It's the toll road saying they want it cleaned up. So I don't know whether
But it
we
is
want,
our property, right?
it's your property.
Okay, so,
Where is the area? Is it interfering with our operations, or is all that woods behind us, you know?
No, like I said, it's across the street. It's between the water plant and the toll road itself.
Oh.
I could see some of it needs to be cleaned up, maybe just directly around the well itself. But other than that, around the building, there's pretty big trees. I mean, how long have you guys owned the property now? And this, and he's just now asking to get it cleaned up.
I guess the point is, if it's our land,
just clean it up?
Do we need to clean it up? That's the question we're asking.
I would say some of it, yes.
All right.
And there's something to be said for keeping our tenant happy. I mean,
Yeah.
they generally are low maintenance. We don't get a lot of requests. They don't show up at
Ratepayers.
the board meetings.
Yeah.
So
Lately, they've been paying us.
Yeah, they were late payers, but now they're on target, so.
Why don't we go ahead and get a quote, see what it is?
I have a quote. It's $1,200. I
Yeah.
have a
Sure.
quote. It's
For sure.
$1,200.
Something to be said for that.
All right, so,
Let's pay it, let's do it, right?
yeah, and then when they are not on a
It's in your
timely
boardable.
basis
Look at the
for
quote.
their payment,
Bill.
we can remind them of that, okay?
What?
That's just a little slight
Gives you a bunch of mumbo jumbo.
dig, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do it, let's just do it.
We got one quote for 1,200.
And that's the same subject that's doing our other maintenance, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no brainer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who is it?
The same guy that does your mowing and your plowing.
I was kind of wanting a picture, see how bad it was, but
No picture?
You want a picture? I can have Chris get pictures and send them to me, and we can send them around.
yeah.
If we want to wait.
It is pretty overgrown. Like I said, it's 6 years or 8 years or whatever, how long you've had it of growth around the building and around the well.
So it's hard to access it, in other words,
Yeah.
Chris.
Right. Yeah. There is that issue of access to the well. So
Yeah, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve the quote for $1,200 from Andrews Property Management. Any questions?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by word aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Motion carries. All right, moving on to JPR.
Nothing more other than what I have in our end of month billing report.
Okay. Any questions on that? Comments?
Nope.
No,
Okay. Moving on to phase 2, Dan?
Yeah, morning, guys.
Morning.
morning.
So on phase 2, I don't really have anything other than the fact that all the improvement work by BL Anderson was completed at the lift stations for phase 2. And as Steve mentioned, some of the invoices were for BL Anderson being paid by SRF. So that's basically being wrapped up now. And if you recall, the remaining funds afterward were going to get rolled over into Hudson Saucony. So once all that's done, we can close everything out with SRF and we'll be done with phase 2.
Awesome.
It's okay with you, I'll just roll into Hudson Saucony?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, so with Hudson Saucony, in the attached project update, kind of the first thing of note was a couple of weeks ago I was working pretty hard on getting the permits assembled, the IDEM permits, and came across the fact that our project plans and specs, in particular the ones for the force main, still needed quite a bit of work. So I've gotten those marked up and over to our drafting team, but in the meantime I do have the permit assembled. So it's just a matter of as soon as we get those drawings up to snuff, I can meet up with John and have him sign off on it and we can get that submitted. I'm thinking in the next month or so we'll have that ready to go.
Okay.
In the meantime,
Who certifies that the sewage treatment plant's got enough capacity in this situation?
well, technically John would as the district representative.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah. Well, we did our homework, so don't worry about it. Anywho, moving on, item 4 under the memo for land acquisition, we're continuing to meet with property owners on Saucony Lake as we roll along through design. Thought I'd start putting in a table here with just an update of how that's going. The project currently has 262 property owners that require easements in the Saucony Lake project. We have 104 of them, and we're still waiting on 155. So that puts us at about 40% done. And we have to have all of those easements in hand at the time of closing.
That's what I was just.
Yes. Okay. So that would be we'd be looking at next spring.
Okay.
Also, I tabulated the income study results in the memo here from that income study that went out. Kind of shook out. Looks like kind of how we expected. Looks like the Saucony Lake project had 66% of respondents above the median household income threshold, and at Hudson Lake it was basically the opposite of that. 66% came out below the median household income threshold. So,
interesting.
We can provide this info to SRF and see if there's a potential for some subsidization in future phases that actually affect Hudson. So good information to have. You guys have any questions about that?
Good to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
The last item I've got on Hudson Saucony has to do with the equipment pre-selection packages. So if you remember last summer, we pre-selected a bunch of equipment on the project, got negotiated pricing for it, and we're going to incorporate it in our project. That pricing all expires on October 26th of this year. That will be, I believe, 15 months from the date of their proposal submittal, as stated in the terms and conditions of those proposals. So because of that, we're going to move forward with negotiating pricing on the stuff that's going to be included in the Saucony project. We do have the ability to put the project out for competitive bid without a pre-selection package if we so want to. Like, say if negotiated pricing comes back unfavorably, we could always say, well, we're not under an agreement with you guys anymore, so we can competitively bid that instead of listed as a pre-selected item. But the big thing that a couple of guys are asking for is there was equipment that was specifically associated with the treatment plant in phase 2 or 3, depending on which way you're looking at it. And there's currently no set time frame for how those projects are moving forward. So those guys are asking for their bid bonds back. And that would be for the Aeromod package wastewater plant equipment, the mechanical screen, the sludge dewatering equipment, and the UV system.
That makes sense. Chair.
So we're holding on to those currently, and they've requested that those be returned if we're not moving forward with that phase of the project right now. And I thought I'd request board authorization to go ahead and return those.
That's your request.
Yes.
Makes sense. So moved.
Sense.
Second.
Okay. The only one that's that's kind of different is, pump stations and grinders and things. They're kind of in both phases, and the rep for the flow meters, Franke Environmental, has asked to send in a revised bid bond. That's basically 5% of just the phase 1 project instead of both meters he's going to be providing. So I'll probably be doing that in addition with these 4.
Okay.
Price should be going down, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Makes sense.
Then we had a general note on here for funding and PPL results. Indicated we were approved for all 3 phases. We're still waiting to hear what that level of subsidization is going to look like grant wise from SRF. Otherwise, I already touched on income study results, so I don't really have anything else unless you guys have any questions.
Do we have a time frame on that SRF grant?
Good question. I'd have to.
You see the ready grant we didn't get.
Just Steve Carter just walked out, but I think we should hear, if not by the end of this week,
First cut.
beginning of next, I think is what we last discussed.
I think that's what he said at the meeting last week. Mm-hmm. Like any day now, for specific numbers.
What do you do?
We can ask him when he gets back.
All right.
Geez, that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, moving on. Executive committee, engineering committee,
Nothing.
None.
no meeting. Notice of statutory exemption, nothing. Moving on to new business. Next meeting, September 24th,
Sounds good.
in person and Zoom. Pre-agenda meeting and attendees, same.
Mm-hmm.
TDD district, possibilities for Saugony Hudson project. Not much to update on that. I did have some conversations in regards to the South Shore running through Hudson and Saugony Lake, and opportunities to potentially capture dollars for infrastructure improvements, but it's ongoing. I guess you could probably take that off moving forward, and if anything changes, we can add it.
Okay.
You got any questions on that? All right, Whisper Isle subdivision correspondence attached.
Yeah.
Petition, that was the last meeting, right?
Yep.
We did, but John, you wanted this on the agenda to
Yes.
discuss?
So I just wanted to clear some things up. So there was a gentleman here by the name of Ron Nowak. Did he read this statement that was issued? Because I don't see it signed or anything.
I believe he did.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yes, he did. I don't know if he got it signed.
All right. Well, I'm not going to comment on that statement, but in regards to Whisper Isle, I did have a conversation with Ron in regards to how many lots were available. And at that time, Ron told me that 5 of them were being sold, but as far as sewer, I just had a conversation with Ron in regards to the study that we did 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and I said in the future, if one person is buying all these lots, they need to understand that there's ever a potential for sewer to run the subdivision, that they could be liable for hookup. And that was all that was mentioned to Ron, and we had a conversation about the covenants in the subdivision in regards to taking care of the lots and everything, and the fact that any house built, anybody that buys a lot has to have a home built within 12 months. So I said, if one guy's gonna own 14 lots, then, there's a potential for, if sewers ever ran in the future, for a sewer hookup. And that was the only conversation had. And then Jennifer got an email from a resident, and it's attached here, that she forwarded that said, "We are residents of Whisper Isle subdivision. We are writing on several of these families. Recently, we were told of a request proposal to provide county water and sewer subdivision, as this is definitely not a service requested by the majority of the here. We are asking if this plan is known to your department, and if so, how, and address this with your department. The majority of our residents have significant investments in well, septics, water systems, and irrigation systems that are well maintained and functioning more than adequately. We do not wish to have taxes, hookup fees, more monthly charges incurred for the purpose of helping someone who may be experiencing problems due to poor maintenance of personal water and septic systems or lacks their own personal funds to maintain them. It would be rather dastardly and irresponsible to have other neighbors penalized by incurring these costs to cover something that might only be advantageous for their specific finances.
Wow.
Please let us know of any plans or considerations for this type of project to our subdivision as soon as possible. Should this be an issue, many of us will be engaging legal service as well as needing to attend any monthly meetings that include this in their project agenda. Thank you for your response in advance. Robert and Paulette Bird." So I called Mr. Bird and had a conversation and explained to him that the study was done 3 years ago, and at that time it cost, I believe, $750,000 to run sewer into that subdivision, and only servicing, I believe there was 12 homes at that time. It was not feasible, and the sewer board made the decision to table that, and that, you know, in the future, you know, there's potential, but I can't predict the future, and that was the way we left it. And as far as I knew, Robert Bird, the only thing he said to me was, "Please don't do it in my lifetime." But the thing that I have a hard time wrapping my head around is 8 years ago, Comcast ran into this subdivision. They bored underground and nobody batted an eye. And today, all 12 homes, I'm sure, pay $200 a month for Comcast. But the minute you bring up about clean drinking water to somebody, they freak out and just go nuts over it, and it's just it's crazy. But
Well, most people rather pay $200 for cable service than $100 for sewer and water.
Which makes no sense.
That's just the
No
nature of the
sense.
beast, unfortunately.
But at the end of the day, you know, a lot of this was gaslighting because there's covenants in the subdivision, and one person, I guess, wants to buy all the lots and control the neighborhood. So there's a lot of mistruths, and I've actually engaged and had my attorney send a letter to cease and desist. I'm kind of tired of being harassed and having neighbors come into my yard asking me questions when I had one conversation with Mr. Nowak, and at no time was it mentioned about sewer. So there's a lot of incorrect statements. I mean, my neighbors think that we're getting water and sewer and we're getting annexed into the city. And I mean, I'm smart enough to know that that's not the case. So, I mean, just a lot of this stuff's untrue, and I just want to put it to bed. So if we got to send a letter to the neighborhood to tell them we have no plans to run sewer into this neighborhood.
We said that already, yeah. Last meeting.
We at the last meeting, that's what we
Yeah,
specific, and it's in the minutes, that's what we said.
Okay.
Dastardly plans. And
Dastardly.
they did say, well, does that mean it'll never happen? And
can't say that.
And I said, we can't say never.
And that's what.
So that's what we told them when you were not here.
But thanks, John, for clearing that up, because it's important that you get that out there and make your comment.
And I've been completely transparent when we went over this like 3 years ago with Dan and everything. So, I mean.
Oh. Thank you.
So.
Barry, do we need to do anything else?
I don't think so. I haven't been contacted by anybody on their behalf, no lawyer on their behalf. So I think.
But as far as like somebody making like public statements that aren't accurate, I mean.
Well, if it's against the board, I suppose so. If someone is more mouthing you and saying statements that aren't true, and then that would be something you and your attorney would take up. But I mean, from a board, I think now. I mean, we've done nothing wrong. Board's done nothing wrong. We've been honest. We were honest at the open meeting. So I think to send out a letter kind of looks defensive, and someday, you know, maybe when we're all gone, 15 years from now, and they bring sewer out there, they're going to point, oh, look at this letter that said they didn't have any plans. You know, I see no good coming from it, I think, Mr. President.
All right, no
Well,
problem.
just, you know,
That's good.
John, if things change in 1 month, 1 week, 6 weeks, just keep Barry involved.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and if I get contacted by anybody, any attorney who said I'm representing the neighborhood, then certainly I'm gonna immediately tell the board and get direction from the board, but at this point, I haven't heard from anybody.
Well, I think the letter said I needed three more homes to hook up before we could run it, so that makes a lot of sense. But anyways, moving on. Old business.
I guess that's me. I sent a draft of a proposed interlocal agreement to the county, well, at the time he was the county council attorney, now Mr. DiMartino, I believe, is the county commissioner attorney. But he said he's still gonna be involved in this, because I said, you know, I don't know who you're ultimately gonna hire, but don't thrust him into something that you and I have been talking about for 2 or 3 months. And he said, no, I'm not gonna do that. But in emails and phone conversations, it seems clear that even though we did forward to him all the information that Steve and JPR got from SRF saying, hey, you made the criteria for all 3 phases, they kind of want something more concrete before, I'm gonna guess maybe they want Ken, me, somebody to go to a meeting, but they don't wanna have that meeting until we have numbers. So they're looking for the same numbers that that Dan just talked about.
Okay.
We're looking for the numbers that says, okay, we are funding X amount in loan or X amount in forgivable loan. I mean, that they want specifics, and at the minute we get that,
We'll ship it
I'll
out.
forward them to Mr. DiMartino, and then he's going to give us guidance. Either he'll say, hey, this is great. You give us kind of what the dollars, you know, tell us and they also want to know based on the council meeting minutes what we're spending it on, obviously.
Okay.
So, but I mean, we're keeping them in the loop. They're fully informed. They have all of the information we do. So we just kind of have to wait until we get the numbers, hopefully soon.
Hopefully, end of this week, or Steve
Yeah.
will send an email Tuesday,
Right.
after the holiday.
Okay. We want Steve to tell us anything.
And in the worst case scenario, I suspect they would give us an extension on their date. I mean, that's what
Okay.
I mean,
So that's the
There-
answer we needed when he left, and we're giving that answer now.
Yeah, if we don't have an email by Friday, then Steve will send an email to Tuesday. How's that plan?
I'll call Bill Harkins today and bounce him on that.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Make that motion.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to adjourn. Any questions? All in favor signify by word aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed, same sign.
Are
Ayes
you a
have it.
pirate?
Meeting adjourned.
Yeah. I'm saying that.
Nice.